Guys, shooting lefty. Hopefully the video is good on this. I'm using my pivot head glasses, so that way I can work on everything and see and not have a camera in my face. I'm going to address the Cajun Gunworks issue with their hammer. Again, I got everything stripped down. One thing I noticed is with their adjustable sear and the CZ competition hammer, you would get this thing where double action worked fine, but in single action, if you were to stage the trigger and right where it would break, the hammer would let go a little bit. It would hold it, but it would actually release it, and then if you let out the trigger, it would basically go in half cock. And you could go straight into single action fire, but it'd feel gritty, like it was like it was catching on something, because it would release it and then almost pull it back and then fire it again, kind of a doot doot, and then all the way forward. So it's like in single action, you could pull the trigger, stage it right where it would break, it would release it, and then if you slowly let the trigger out, it would also lower the hammer slowly. So that's the issue. Now, what I've read and looked into is this little guy, your disconnector, which is attached to the hammer. On a manual safety, apparently these little wings right here need to be shaved down ever so slightly, because that's where they interact with the trigger bar. So I'm going to work on that a little bit, and hopefully we get good results. Alright, so I got my little diamond file, and these are just little cheap ones from Harbor Freight. And supposedly you don't have to take much, and this is one of those things. You want to do just a little at a time. Check, assemble it a little at a time. It's kind of the shitty part of this, but it's better to go under than over. I just want to do a little bit here, a little bit there. So hopefully these glasses are picking up. I haven't really done any real reviews or anything with it, but figured it'd be a little easier than doing this with a camera in my face. I think you even want to file this. A little more on this side. If I can get it. It's tiny. It's a little pain in the ass, especially when you got big fingers like me. Alright, so I'm going to put it together and see what we got. See if that did anything or not. Alright, so this is, I'll put it back together. Still not working right, but this is what you're getting. If you can hear that little click, and then if you let out, now one way I learned that if that is your problem, turn it upside down. Doesn't do it. So you get it upside down, or pointing down, it won't do it. Okay, and don't worry, there's a dummy room. But if you have it up, sometimes I won't always do it. There it goes, right there. There you can So, good, take it apart. Alright, so I think I'm close. This is my second attempt. I started not putting in the little safety little retainer and this little hammer pin and this guy on the other side of the safety, just because I feel you don't think you really need them to test it. That way, on a few less things you got to take it apart, because those little things can be, especially this guy, can be finicky. Just all that for just a test. But so far it's doing better. I had it happen once or twice. See, so far it's doing pretty good. So what I may do is actually just go in and polish everything up just to smooth it out, and that'll take just a fraction of it off. Maybe just go in there with some 1500 grit sandpaper and just polish it up slightly, because that'll take a little bit off. But so far, see, it hasn't. I had it happen once or twice, but so far, I'm good. So I think I'll just polish it up. Probably just polish it up, and I should be good. Yeah, I think I'm good. I'll polish it up. I keep saying that, but you know, that's what happens when you're testing stuff. You're in the moment. All right. So I'll take it all apart. I'll get it polished, and I'll actually show you kind of what I'm doing, probably, or the polishing process, because I actually did polish everything up in there. So I'll see you shortly. So I got the disconnector off. Seemed to be pretty good. I do recommend these little pins when you replace your hammer from Cajun Gunworks. They're the little replacement pins. They're a lot easier. You don't have to punch them in and out. They just press in and out. It's a lot easier to do, especially when you got to take it, you know, parts on and off a lot. So I got some 1000 and 2000 grit paper. So I like the wet and dry. Give it a little bit of a buffer. See if this will even, how well this will work. Got a little, kind of like when you do a feed ramp or something like that, you can do a little pencil trick maybe. Let's use the eraser to, there's a little bit of friction. So I'll hit this with the 1000, which I'm doing now, and then go over it with the 2000. I'll just use the little diamond file to shave that down. Since that kind of, I think that cut it a little faster than filing and filing and filing. A nice little homemade bucket. And it works. Especially good for like putting simple green and things like that, since it doesn't, you know, corrode anything, break apart and leak. So this thing is super fucking tiny. Alright, we'll keep polishing on this a little bit more with the 1000 and be back. Alright, so moving to the 2000. I don't think it's doing too awful much. Like I said, hopefully it is working like it is. It seemed to be. So hopefully this will, you know, it had to happen like once, I think maybe twice, but it was odd. So hopefully this little bit will take care of anything that was happening. If not, then this time, once I finish polishing everything up, I'll fully put the gun back together. That way everything is where it needs to be and it has all the proper tension on things and so forth. That way it's acting as it normally would in normal conditions. So, I know you probably can't see me, just because my big ass hands are in the way. But kind of, you can see how a little bit shiny. You can see maybe that angle, well, it's a little more rounded off on the corners right there. It's a little shinier. So let me get my Dremel. Got my Dremel. Got my flits. Stuff is nice. It goes a long way. Put a tidbit there. Inside. Do the other side. Polished. Okay, I'll put that to the side. My mess of tools. Alright, so I'm going to put this back together and fully assemble it and hope for the best. So I'll come back when I got it all together. So I got it back together. And we're going to see how she does. It looks like I think I'm good. Yeah, so I think we're good. I'm still waiting on the mag guide. Somehow that actually broke on me during a match, and actually this part got wedged in the magazine. It's actually on one of my videos from one of my matches, my night match that I did. I don't know what happened. I think what may have happened was one time when I was installing the spring, I was putting this in, I let it go, and it stretched this out, which then didn't hook, and somehow then it snagged and got up, but I don't know. So I got a new one of these coming. But other than that, everything else seems to be just fine. I don't think I'm having an issue. And you saw how I did it. I did it twice. Excuse me. I only, sanded it or filed it twice. Little diamond files. Little Harbor Freight set for like what, maybe $6, $7, something like that. I think, if that. I also use these around the house for different things, and other little gum parts are good. Could use those when I did my sights the first time. But if you have any questions or wondering how to take it down, I have other videos of all these the breakdowns and stuff. But yeah, all I did is I just filed it slightly, a couple times on each side, like 5 times on one side, 5 times on the other, just kind of so it goes fairly even. I try to keep everything, symmetrical. And that way one side doesn't have, more taken off than the other. Plus, you only want to do a little bit at a time, because that way you don't want to go over. And some people, I think, do the trigger bar. I do the disconnector because that's a little easier to replace, I think. Probably a little cheaper too, but no biggie. Either one works because I had polished the trigger bar and all that, all the underneath, all the contact points, to make it a lot smoother, and I can tell that is pretty smooth. Single action is just a dream. But there you go. That's if you're having problems with the Cajun Gunworks sear and hammer issues that I was showing at the beginning. But there you go. Thanks, guys.